negative 30 degrees. Let's take a look at these Minneapolis firefighters showing just how cold it is. You can see what happens when they remove their helmet. The steam just rising right off of them. And ABC's Eva Pilgrim, she is there in Chicago. We know you have lots of layers on, Eva, but for many people, it's really not safe to be outside in these conditions.
Well, that's why we're starting this off inside, because it is dangerously cold outside. You can get frostbite in just a matter of mere minutes in these temperatures. Okay, we're going to take a deep breath, and we are heading outside so we can show you just how cold it is out there. And as you get out here, I've got some hot water. I'm just going to throw it in the air. You can see it very quickly turns into ice and snow.
The slow wind through Yongala National Park in Queensland, the signs are visible. Pockets of the landscape left charred and scarred by one of 130 bushfires that raced across the state late last year.
2.5 kilometres in 15 minutes. This come from this side of the valley, right across the valley.
Tess Ford had a front row view from the edge of her pup's perch.
So the fireball is pretty much right there.
Of a fire that tore through the valley below.
The Thursday morning was the morning that I got up, and there was a massive fireball out the front here.
What makes this particular fire stand out is that it took place in a rainforest. The real defense a rainforest has from any outside threat is its perimeter. Once that perimeter is compromised or damaged in any way, as we saw here a couple of months ago, there's nothing stopping that threat from racing through. Other extreme weather events played a role in fueling the devastating fires.
We'd had the damage from Cyclone Debbie in 17. It had shredded the canopy of the rainforest, allowing more light, more drying, and obviously put a lot more fuel on the ground.
And periods of hot, dry weather created the perfect invitation.
What we're seeing in the last few decades, of course, is that projections of climate change are increasingly becoming observations of climate change.
The United Nations says natural disasters affected more than 60 million people around the world in 2018, claiming more than 10,000 lives.
That dangerous cold blast still bearing down on the Midwest, now settling into the East Coast this morning.
Let's take a look at Wisconsin right now. Look at those temperatures right there, minus 16 degrees. So many people waking up to so much cold. Upstate New York, lake effect snow is coming down. You see it right there. They could get more than a foot on top of what they already have.
And that deep chill is moving in fast. Let's take a look at this time-lapse video showing a snow squall sweeping through New York City in an instant, bringing whiteout conditions and bitter air came behind that.
You know what? That was right outside of my window, my apartment window. I saw that when it happened.
Yeah, and I was having lunch, and my back was to the door, and I turned around. I'm like, where did that come from? Yeah, out of nowhere.
That's it. So here is what we know right now. The cold has caused at least 8 deaths, and this morning 29 states are under cold and snow alerts. We have team coverage. Ginger is back. She's starting us off here in Times Square with the latest. Good morning, Ginger.
The question is, why did I come back? It feels about 100 degrees colder here than I was about 12 hours ago, and so many of you have been dealing with this for at least 3, if not 5 days. So let's talk about it. This morning we bottomed out at 2 here. That is the coldest since the winter of 2016. It feels like 17 below. And folks in Duluth, Minnesota are actually seeing schools closed because of the cold. Look how cold it got. 55 below 1985. So it's seriously once in a generation here. So how cold is it this morning? Well, Detroit feels like 33 below. It feels like 1 below in Cincinnati.
You know, they were talking about climate change yesterday, and now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning.
And this is something we've been looking at for the past several years, that the dance between the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere balances out because of the natural cyclical events of the atmosphere, the whole system. When one shrinks, the other expands and then goes back and forth. And global sea ice is well above normal because the Antarctic is so far above normal. This is a global issue, isn't it? We're supposed to look all over.
A super blood wolf moon lunar eclipse. Researchers now have something even rarer from the phenomenon. In what's believed to be the first ever occurrence, astronomers have discovered a meteorite hit the moon during the eclipse, likely leaving a large crater. One astronomer called it a rare alignment of infrequent events. Millions reportedly gazed at the super blood wolf moon lunar eclipse to watch the moon turn reddish hue on January 20th. 21st. Some sky gazers noticed the potential impact, and news traveled quickly on Reddit and other social media. It was a dream come true for Spanish astronomer Jose Medito. He's been trying to record a meteor striking the moon for over 10 years. He says it was so exciting, I jumped out of my chair. A new paper submitted in the journal Icarus estimates the meteor weighed between 44 and 220 pounds. It struck the moon at nearly 31,000 miles. There's a huge problem on the Antarctic, and one that could have global consequences. Scientists have discovered a gigantic subterranean hole underneath the world's most important glacier. This has sparked concerns. It's melting faster than anyone realized. The cavity under the glacier is in West Antarctica, stretches 6 miles, and is 1,000 feet deep. To put it in perspective, it's about 14 billion tons of melted ice and about 2/3 the size of Manhattan in New York. It also could mean rising sea levels globally, which poses a serious threat to coastal cities around the world. One researcher said the size of the cavity under a glacier plays an important role in melting. As more heat and water get under the glacier, it melts faster. Researchers conducting the study said the cavity is growing at an explosive rate.